Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how I went from this to this. As you guys have seen from the intro, this build is really effective at clearing enemies. It's doing great on bosses and also on Horde's enemies because it is just AoE on AoE with your Tornado, Maelstrom, and it's a great build to get into. So it does have a bit of a rough start because of the leveling. You do need to get a certain level to get the Swarmblade form. So I will also include a little bit of a leveling guide at the beginning, so you guys also know what to do to the levels up until Swarmblade, because this is an early game guide. It will just cover all of the basics of the build before you get it, and then when you actually can enjoy the build and fully play into that. So I'll first cover the skills just for what you can do before you get the Swarmblade, because the Swarmblade form you can get only at 25 points into the passive tree. So you need to actually spend quite a bit of points into this passive tree. So until that, what do you do? So what I basically did was a bit of a subpar build, but you can also just use right off the bat, option A, use a leveling guide. And I think that will say Spriggan form or summon Spriggan and Torn Totem. Those I think are one of the things that you will definitely have in that build. But what I did, because I like a little bit of lightning a little bit more, I had the Gathering Storm, Fury Leap, Summon Wolf, and I think a Maelstrom in there. These have a little bit of synergy also, so it's a little bit also just already in the back. And one that was actually quite nice, I switched out Summon Wolf after a while for the Itera's Blessing, just for the healing. This is just basically unlimited health potions as long as you have enough mana. So this is like a basic build. It won't deal that much damage though. Gathering Storm at the beginning certainly doesn't deal that much damage. So what I would advise, after you've reached enough levels to get Tempest Strike, specialize that skill. And once you get that, you want to focus on two main things, because this costs 16 mana every time you cast it. Well, you probably have like 100, 150 mana. That will not be enough to cast this a lot of the times. This has quite a lot of attack speed as well. So you want to focus on getting that mana cost down. So first 4 points into this, so you immediately get 8 mana cost down. So that's only halved. That's good. Then you want to spend 1 and 2 points here. And then you want to get these. So it doesn't do the Frigid Tempest anymore. And it also doesn't do the Wind Tempest anymore. You will still get the Lightning. So for me, a Lightning Enjoyer, this is fine. And now you will not get the Frigid Tempest and the Wind Tempest in there anymore. You can try around and just seeing if you can do only one of these. So that would have like 4 mana per hit. But, you know, depending on your mana cost and how much you want to heal, I would say just get those, all of them. And then you will have 0 mana cost, and this will do a lot of damage. You can just see from the damage per second estimated. Of course, that doesn't count for the Stormbolt that also is cast through them, but you can just see that it does a lot more basic damage, and the damage per second is just a lot better. So even if you reduce these, the damage per second from the Tempest Strike will be very good, and you can just get this one equipped. And then for the other specialization, I would definitely add Fury Leap and get as much cooldown reduction. Because if you're leveling, you kind of, again, have 2 options. One is to actually level up through the campaign normally and do all the side quests as you should. And then the second option is actually like speed running through there. I will add in a link how you can speed run. But basically when you're speed running, all you want to do is just get from A to B as fast as possible. So you really need to spam your Fury Leap. And anything else that can give you like movement speed is good. So Fury Leap and like Itera's Blessing, just heal when you're low, Fury Leap, and then Tempest Strike when you need to do a boss or something. That's like the fastest way to get all the way to like level 30-ish when you will get your Swarmblade form. And that's when the build really starts to become fun. So that is really when it starts. And that is when you want to like despecialize everything and really want to go for your Swarmblade. You can, of course, Maelstrom, you can put that as a third or something to level that as well. So you already have some levels in there. But the most important thing is your Swarmblade form. And this is going to be like, okay, I assume you now have your Swarmblade form. So this is the one you want to specialize first. So when you get your Swarmblade form, I basically followed the Maxwell guide, guys. I'm not saying anything like very new here. but it is some kinds of things that you really want to get into. So first of all, the Viper Skull, so you get Serpent Strike. Serpent Strike is of course something else you want to get in there as well, but you will get this by just leveling the passive tree, so you'll get that automatically. You don't need to specialize it just to take advantage of it, but you won't use it until you have your Swarmblade, because it normally has a spear requirement, and we're not using spears in this build. We're using like double axes, double swords, a dagger and sword, or mace and a sword, even a scepter, just something one-handed and not a two-handed spear. And then you will go and get your tornado casts. This will just randomly cast tornadoes once you hit 6 times with an ability, and this will give you extra rage. You need rage to be in your form, so eventually if you have this leveled, you can kind of stay in your Swarmblade form indefinitely. I'll also add some clips at the beginning and the end, so you can see a little bit how long I actually stay in this form. There's very little times that I actually don't stay in the form forever. A small amount of time that you don't stay into that, and if you really do, a 6-second cooldown, and then you're back again. Just stay healing and run away with Fury Leap or something. So after that, you can proc the tornado even sooner, and once you got that, then you want to actually get a little bit more crit chance. A lot of things kill with crit chance, and it's very nice. You can also gain more rage when you crit, so this is just a good tree to get into. And then you hold on for this little bit, because you want to get into Maelstrom. Maelstrom is the second ability that you should specialize, because once you get the Maelstrom, or well, you can maybe even do Tornado first and then the Maelstrom, but you also need to level your passive points. I'll talk about that later. So for Maelstrom, it's very important that you get this at a high level, because with level 3s or higher, you can actually get a permanent uptime of Fury and Haste just by spamming your ability, your dash ability. Because every time you cast your dash ability, you will get more Maelstrom stacks. And now you can just, it has a 3-second cooldown, so you kind of need to think, okay, with 2 stacks you can maybe keep it up, but you need to really be dashing every second. With 3 stacks, you can just dash 2 times every 10 seconds and you'll be fine. So during bosses you don't need to spam it all the time, but just as long as you do it 2 times every 10 seconds, you'll be good. And you'll have Fury and Haste, which is quite nice. So that's basically it. And then further levels, of course, will be getting more Maelstrom stacks, putting more rage in crits. You can also get a little bit more crit chance, but an important thing is actually attack speed. Attack speed scales really well because you're just constantly attacking, and you really want that in your build. So that's for the Swarmblade form. Then for the Maelstrom, basically at the beginning you want to get your Frenzy stacks and your Haste stacks, so you're gonna get there as fast as possible. And you of course want the duration to be as long as possible. The base duration is 7 seconds. With this 40%, you'll be sitting around 10.5 seconds. So that's really nice, especially with getting the Frenzy stacks and also with your dashes. Then you want to go into getting more dodge rating during your Maelstrom and actually letting it cast Storm Bolts with the increased physical damage and stun chance. So your attacks will also be CCing the enemy, which means that you can kind of like stun lock certain types of enemies just by hitting them a lot and having your stun chance be higher. So each stack of Maelstrom even gets you a lot more stun chance. So you will be sitting at quite a lot of CC chance just from this Maelstrom. So this is quite important. So you really do want to get to these points quite quickly. So you really need to specialize this quickly and then be able to get all of these other things. Then Serpent Strike, this is just applied on top of your basic attack in your Swarmblade form. With this you can first get it to be more freeze rating and also give you a lot more dodge chance. With this it will just do extra cold damage. It's a little bit more CC and it is quite nice to have that in there. And then you want to slowly get into more attack speed, armor shred and armor shred per dexterity. We're not really running any dexterity in this build, but your items can give a little bit of it, and it's just added the shred chance to get on top of there. And then afterwards you can just spec into like poison chance or like more health gained for a little bit more sustained. Even a critical multiplier is also quite nice. And this one is also a kill threshold. Can be nice for some of the like high health enemies that when they're under 18 health on max levels, you can actually insta kill them just as you have a chance to do that. That's quite nice as well, because you'll be attacking quite a lot. Then for Tornado, you'll be casting quite a lot of these, and these are doing quite a bit of damage. At the beginning, they'll just be circling around randomly, but until you level the tornado lasting longer and then even having a double cast, you'll be able to get them to attach to you, which means that they will all attach to you. And so it will all just be one tornado. You cannot cast additional tornadoes, but it will be attached to you. So always when you're in melee range, it will do damage. And also the damage is increased by 100%. So this is 6.5k damage per second, which is quite a lot. So you always want to be standing on top of your enemies as close as possible, so you can just keep that tornado damage going. And then also the tornado will cast storm bolts. This is where all the lightning comes from in your build. Also from Maelstrom, but a lot from this tornadoes, just summoning more and more lightning. And it will also give you some increased movement speed. You can even get that to do even increased attack speed, which is quite nice on the build. More attacks is a lot better. Also means more tornadoes, or like more tornado uptime, because you can only get one. Then finally, this specialization, we'll get this later. This is just for adding the more damage to your storm bolts. You can see here that now my storm bolts is like at 1622 damage. This is because this is the frequency that's getting increased, and all of the other things just increase the lightning penetration, more spell damage. All of these things are quite nice additionally on top of the damage you're already doing. You're not really gonna cast this Gathering Storm at all. It is just more of the other things that are really helping you out. And also, yeah, just all of the other things that really add to the Lightning Storm damage. So that's it for skills. And then we're just gonna go into passive tree. It's a very basic passive tree. You don't really do that much specials. You go 8 into this, 6 into there, 6 into this. And then you will have enough points for the Serpent Strike, which you will only specialize later. And then first of all, you don't do this at all at the beginning. Only you get this one for 7 points. Another 7 points. Get a +1 to all attributes. Quite nice. And then this one will also have you some rage decay, which is nice because after you get the more attack speed, this means that you have no rage decay out of combat. Sometimes you'll just be walking around without really hitting enemies. It is nice that your rage doesn't decay and make you transform again. So this is really nice. And once you've got this and some points into this to get the leech, you'll be able to actually, well, you can do it earlier, but you want to get this around the same time as you get the ability, the skill. Once you get the Swarmblade form and you've leveled this, then you kind of want to also specialize your tornado. So then you want to start putting in some points into the Shaman tree. Just once you have 5 points, you'll get the tornado, and then you'll also be able to specialize it. So you need to time this a little bit with the build. You can opt out of, you know, leveling this for 5 points and then get the tornado and then go back into the Druid again. This is why you also want to do all of the side quests, so you of course have your passive point rewards and you will be able to get those as well. So after this you just go into the more attunement points, and that is when you actually get Primordial Resonance for the more elemental penetration while transformed. And then afterwards you start leveling your Rageborn and your Impervious. Once you've got this, then you can look into a little bit like less damage taken, more tankiness. So here in Beastmaster you actually have quite a few things that, like Aspect of the Boar, that are actually quite nice to get into, but that's more of the late game. And until you're gonna be like level 60 or something, you won't have any troubles with it. I still need like, I think 10, 18, so that's like 20 points. So that's like roughly 70 plus, and then you're already heading into the mid/end game. I'm afraid to say end game because last time when I made an end game Last Epoch video, a lot of people were complaining about saying this is not end game. You're not even doing corruption level 2000. So, you know, I'm gonna take it easy. This is basically up until end of the campaign / I'm already doing monoliths. So I'm really heading out of the early game. I'm really heading into the mid game monoliths scene. I will add a clip of me doing a monolith run on this build at the end. And I think, oh yeah, just for the items, of course, I need to tell you a little bit about the items. My items basically are just random things I find off the ground. This is not really, if you really want to get like what kind of stats you want or what kind of items you specifically need to have, you need to watch in the build guide that I linked below, because that will actually tell you a little bit more about the stats. Attack speed is very important, health is very important, you want your resistances capped. So these are just like the basics of the want. Attunement is good. I think I have some, like on your chest piece you do want more of your Swarmblade form. That is just very good to level, so that's very nice as well. And for your totems, of course, you want to get all of your resistances capped. And I think increased frequency of expanding storm stacks is nice. Spell damage while transformed is also pretty good. So you want to kind of look at the build guide to see what kind of things you want. I have created a loot filter for you guys just because all of the other loot filters didn't really do it for me. They were also just a little bit too cluttered for me. So I just created a very basic one. This just has all of the stats that you want. I looked in the build, looked at all of the things that were good. So basically I added in a crushing tier, which is just any of the stats you want, tier 4 or higher. Then you get them in like in gray or like white. Equipable is actually if they're in some kind of the actually if they're one-handed or like armor pieces that you actually want, then they're equipable and they'll be orange. These can just be any types of things, but you will crush them, so it doesn't really matter if they're two-handed or anything. Then idols, any idol that you want for the build, and great idols if they have 2 different affixes. Again, great equipables are if they have 2 of the affixes, but then +4 or higher, then they're great. And then for the exalteds, recall it any of the wanted exalteds that have any of the stats you want on 6 or higher, so that's really good. And then the red ones are like build specific idols, or like build specific exalted, so melee attack speed, we think spell damage on like helmets or something, hybrid health, also like a stat you really want. And then this one is just of some of the needed runes that I really want. They will stand out as purple or like pink. Just I think hybrid health is also something you would like want to put in here, so you won't miss any of these, because you really need a lot of these to put them out on your gear as well. So you can craft a little bit of your gear and then change things around just to have like hybrid health on there, just so you don't have anything like this, or you don't have the affix for it. So that's the loot filter and the gear. I think that should cover most of it. Blessings, just look in the build guide. It really has the basic stuff for the blessings. Also, blessings is a little bit more mid-game-ish. And that's about it, I would say. I hope you guys... Oh, look at my character. He's looking great. But, of course, in the Swarmblade, he's looking even better. I'll add in a little bit of a gameplay of the Monolith I'm doing afterwards. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be streaming, I think, this week, and a little bit of a hiatus next week because I will be on vacation. But after that, I'll be gaming a little bit more, doing more of the mid-game and end-game content. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.
Epoch is ours!